Welcome to another edition of Airsoft Reports. Today we're going to take a look at the Well R4, also known as the MP7 A1. You're looking at the Well R4, which is a direct copy of the Tokyo Marui MP7 A1. Now the MP7 A1 is itself a recent addition to the world of firearms, let alone the airsoft industry. And there are many things about this airsoft offering that we like. There are also some that we don't like. And we're going to get into those in detail with you over the next few minutes. Now in this review of the MP7 A1, you're going to see what we like and what we dislike about this airsoft offering. And there is a lot to cover. First and foremost, this is one of the most compact airsoft guns that we've seen, and you'll see how that plays into our ranking system. Overall, it is an excellent offering in our opinion for the money. Of course, you're going to have to factor in how the gun is intended to be used. That is, it's a compact airsoft gun primarily geared towards CQB type of operations. That's close quarters battle. Therefore, it is not likely going to be an airsoft gun that you're going to see going against larger and more heavily powered airsoft guns. Guns that use larger batteries and, generally speaking, have larger gearboxes capable of delivering more torque to the pistons within. Now let's take a look at the details, starting with the stock. Now, as you might notice, it appears to be the size of a large pistol. However, pop the latch and you almost double its length. And we like this because it is actually two metal feet that lock securely into the frame, and when out, yield modest flex and very little play, although you can hear a little bit of rattling if you push it in and out, which you would almost never do if you were actually using it. The buttstock itself is actually made of, it's a plastic I'm going to call it, though it does have a little bit of a rubbery feel to it. It's not soft. You don't have to worry about that, however, of course, as there is no recoil. And that's interesting to note, there's very little recoil in the real steel as well. Now, closing the stock is a simple affair, but before we do that, let's show you the charging handle. You're going to need to know where it is because it exposes the hop-up right here. Pull the charging handle back, and it will in fact expose the hop-up wheel, which is a simple rotary wheel, easy to adjust once you discover which way it goes, and loosen it a bit. And of course it won't move out of place as easily as some of the other lever type hop-up adjusters. Getting back to the charging handle, one major complaint we have is that it feels flimsy, and that's just the easiest way of putting it. It's two pieces of plastic, and it is just that. It's very plasticky feeling. It's probably the least qualitative feeling part on the entire gun. You have to squeeze them together, otherwise they won't unlock. It's just a sacrifice you'll have to make on this particular airsoft gun. The good news is it's actually our least favorite portion of the gun, but it's also something you'll use relatively infrequently. Moving on, we have the rail on the top and the sight systems. This is actually very cool for such a small and inexpensive airsoft gun. First of all, it's an all-metal rail, and the sights are removable if you'd prefer to put on some type of alternate optical, red dot, scope if you wish. Anything really that you want to put on there and make it your own, make it customizable. Now the sights are also very cool, and I'm going to tilt this airsoft gun in a sec to show you, but right here you can see these sights flip up. So you have two options. You have a more standard type setup, or you can go with a more tactical feeling setup. This is actually adjustable for windage, and of course, elevation, and of course your windage, left and right, on the rear peep scope. Now I'm going to lift it up and show you the shooter's eye view. Let's take a look. Your windage wheel here provides excellent adjustability for this sight. We were able to hone it perfectly for our uses, and the front tip here is also adjustable, as we said earlier, for your elevation. Won't be much of an issue here, of course, because you're really only going to be firing at about 100 feet accurately with this particular airsoft gun. Still, we like the thought. These are metal sights. They're easy to pop off, and you will have to pop one of them off if you want to remove the rail and access the fuses. And we'll show you that in just another moment. But still, we usually use these sights in their folded form. We find they're great. As far as accuracy goes, it's a standard 3-dot approach, one in the front, two in the back, line them up, and there you go. We like it, all in all. Very, very easy to use, and it's, like I said, a nice addition considering the price of the gun. Alright, well, let's take a look at how to access the fuse and pop the rail off. Now, to access the fuse and to remove the rail, you'll need two tools. The first is going to be a small Allen wrench. 2.5 millimeters is the one we chose to use. And a Phillips head screwdriver of some type. The most obvious is the need to remove the Allen screws at the rear, the middle, and finally the front of the gun. Save yourselves a little bit of trouble. You might notice the middle screw, what looks to be an Allen screw, is actually stripped on our model, and that's simply because we tried removing it before we realized that it is not, in fact, an Allen screw. It's a dummy screw. We're not quite sure why they bothered to put it in there, but it has no functional purpose. Now, popping off the rail is simple. After you've unscrewed the frontmost Allen screw, the rest of them are shorter, and it simply allows you to pop the entire system up and off. And once you've done that, you have a relatively clean chamber in which the fuse is housed. There's also a small hole through the cocking rod itself that allows you to access motor housing adjustments. Now, we presume, without having actually taken it apart ourselves, that this refers to the relationship of the motor to the gearbox themselves and how well the gear meshes with the motor. The instruction booklet, of course, being translated from Chinese into English, was a little vague. We have not yet tested it. It has not become necessary at this point. You can see how the cocking rod is attached via the spring, so should you have any issue with the spring, easy way to access it, just pop the top rail off. Very nice. We like that function quite a bit. Replacing the rail, of course, is just as simple as reversing the previous process. Everything should fit in there pretty snugly. Remember to put in the front screw, which, remember, is the longest of the three. And then, of course, just secure it back in there. And once that's fully in place, you push the front sight to the front. If you wish, you don't have to. If you like it closer, you can. We find more accuracy is gained by putting the sights the farthest points, though, on each side of the rail. And, of course, securing the front sight with your Phillips screwdriver. And once that's accomplished, you're back in business, ready to go. Simple enough. We like the access and the ease of adjustment. Moving on, we're going to take a look at the trigger assembly, safety, and non-functioning bolt release lever. You have the 3-position fire selector switch also doubling as a safety, and in safe mode you cannot fire. Of course, that's a good thing, although in some airsoft guns we've found that the safety doesn't work. That's why we're commenting on it. The secondary safety is one which many of you are familiar with. It's the Glock style trigger safety, where if the little foot in the middle is not depressed, the trigger itself cannot move. This is an added benefit. Of course, the best safety is your noggin, but if for some reason that fails, this certainly could help to avoid disaster. The non-functioning bolt release lever is just that. It's labeled in the instructions as a bolt release lever. However, the bolt does not lock back. So it is possible that we got a lemon, though we doubt it. This bolt has no lock back, therefore this part has no function in the airsoft model. Now, the magazine release is just below the trigger, mounted on the trigger guard, and it is ambidextrous for those of you who prefer to use either an alternate finger or hand to drop the magazine. You can see the lever here. This is, of course, familiar to most of you who have used any type of HK USP style pistol or even Walther P99 style pistols. Use is simple. We choose to use our thumb on our firing hand, which in our case is the right hand. Drops the magazine, slides right out of the entire pistol grip. One nice added feature, though it doesn't have a ton of practicality, is this contact pad, which in the real steel would be a true grip material other than simply plastic. In this case, though, it is just plastic, and it was molded into the frame of the gun.